The NFL playoffs are going on, so we're going to take a minute down memory lane and review all postseasons and figure out which one we like the best. This is the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Stay tuned. Welcome back to the We Don't Know Sports podcast. This is Chad the Mark with
Mr. Brown, Canadian Bigot.
Mongo. Mongo, you feeling all right tonight?
I'm feeling fantastic.
What's got a hold of you?
A Tennessee honey.
That's not honey. Mr. Brown, you just got out of the operating
I'm sorry.
room. Are you okay?
I'm sorry.
Oh, wait. He's not done.
Wait.
There's more.
Wait.
Wait.
Who was wearing the shoes? No, it was called American honey. American honey, not Tennessee.
Okay. Is there a difference? Does Tennessee have better honey than America?
Well, Tennessee is in America.
Exactly.
But
so technically Tennessee honey is American honey.
Okay. Let's go with that.
Now, a nice moment of silence here for our recovering Mr. Brown. You went under the knife.
Yeah, shortly. Got cut on. I'm hurting from my top of my head down to my neck. But
Is that why you've been letting the hair grow out so much?
no.
Because I can't tell.
No, I mean, it's there. Believe me, I can feel it.
Can you feel like your pulse in it?
Yes.
Oh, that
it hurts.
That's the worst.
But yeah, I'm hurting from my top of my head down to my neck. But 3 different procedures, and we're here. Let's roll.
So I know we have the little pre-roll I did, and we're talking about playoff formats because we
Playoffs.
We're 2 years in like the Super Wild Card, and there's all kinds of craziness going on, and it's coincided with the expanded season. You got the 18th week, but before we get into that, Biggie, you're a degenerate gambler. How have you done the past week or two? Have you made any money? I know Mongo was our pick king. Where did he finish at ranked overall?
15th,
15th in the country.
Well, I'm up to 15th.
Are you still betting the spread, or are you just doing pick'ems in the playoffs?
I'm doing both.
He's a dangerous man.
Top 15 is pretty impressive. When you think of anything like college basketball or football-wise, if you're top 25, you're a somebody. Brad, you're a somebody.
I'd
There's
like to
thousands of people that do this. Mongo is number 15.
That is impressive, but I might have something that's more impressive.
I think you might.
All right, so what's the most you've ever won gambling on sports?
Like on a single bet,
Single bet.
Single bet.
$1,296.
How many cents?
Mr. Brown?
It was an even.
How much did I ever won on a bet?
Well, single bet.
$600. It's when I bet LSU was going to beat Alabama when Joe Burrow was there.
Nice. They were the favorite too, weren't they?
Alabama was the favorite.
How in the hell is that possible? That was like
They
the
were.
best offensive team in college history.
Yeah, LSU was the underdog, and I bet them straight up, and I won $600.
Did you say go Tigers?
I put it back into DraftKings and lost it the next weekend.
Did you say did you say like Ed Orgeron?
You go Tigers. Easy to make this
Go
money. I'll
Tigers.
double it next weekend.
Have you seen Ed O without his shirt on now?
He was ripped.
Isn't he like on some spam commercial that you get on social media where he's like hanging out with the honeys on the beach and he doesn't quite have a six-pack. He looks like Hulk Hogan, like NWO Hollywood Hulk Hogan.
Yeah, he got that same bod, the same tan,
Same
tan, big pecs, big biceps. It's not like he rocking the six-pack, but he's still cut for like a 50-year-old, 60-year-old man.
He's old man tough, right?
Yeah, but that's what it is. He looks like a well-polished leather.
He'd whip all of our asses.
Absolutely.
Lots of mink oil on that bitch.
Mink oil? What the hell is mink oil used for?
That's what you That's what you put on leather to condition it.
I apparently do not own enough leather things.
I'm sure Hogan and Ed know what you're talking about.
So I have this question for you just before you guys move on for the three of you. It's just a yes-no.
Oh, I have a big reveal coming, so go ahead.
The one game I did make good money on last weekend was I secretly bet the shit out of the Packers to straight up beat the Cowboys.
Yeah?
But not on our show.
No.
Okay.
He didn't have that confidence.
Yeah, exactly.
No. Sunday rolled around. I was looking at it, and I was like, you know what? I'm going to roll Jordan Love because the Packers have hit their third straight Hall of Fame quarterback.
Really?
Are you saying that on the show now is like this is going to
The
happen?
second half of the season, he was lights out.
If you look at Jordan Love's numbers overall, he is a stud.
He's a top 10 quarterback.
He has quietly put up a great resume this year. Will it continue though with his sophomore slump? We got to see.
Well, is it a sophomore slump when it's like year 4?
It is because it's sophomore playing time.
That's
Well,
true.
my question for you guys is, the Packers, Favre to Rodgers. Rodgers turned out to be the guy. Is this a flash in the pan here second half of the season, or is Jordan Love the Packers quarterback for the next 10 years? Like, do they know how to pick quarterbacks like nobody else does?
I think they have a tried and true formula because even Favre wasn't like thrown in as a rookie. He was on
he was
Atlanta
playing
first.
behind.
Was it Peterson?
They traded for him. He was drafted by Atlanta Falcons, and he was playing behind the Magic Man. What was his name?
The Magic
Magikowski?
Yeah, I remember him.
Oh, yeah.
Well, later we've got Mark McGraw, the 15th cousin, second removed, coming up, who pointed out that he had 32 touchdowns this year.
Nice.
He said he was top 12.
Yeah.
I don't know about all that. But, hey, you know what? You guys can
I
discuss.
feel like given the circumstances where he was tutored under Aaron Rodgers and the track record that Green Bay has, he's definitely bought himself a few years here unless it completely falls off the wheel, but I don't see it happening. I mean, but I'm not saying Hall of Fame yet, but they got a franchise quarterback, it looks like, whether it's Derek Carr or Aaron Rodgers.
True. He could be Derek Carr, who's
what
still
level
a Pro
of
Bowler.
franchise?
I mean,
They
because,
both technically are
right,
one.
he's better than a backup. Let's see if he's an all-star or just a serviceable quarterback.
I got you there.
Definitely better than David Carr.
I don't know if that's fair.
David Carr got such a bad rap. He got
Yeah.
sacked 72 times in his rookie season with the Texans. It completely ruined his career.
Like that guy
That's true.
is having nightmares.
Yeah.
Still to this day, he's probably got PTSD for like we give the Texans crap all the time about like not having a lot of fans and whatnot, or at least not a national audience. Hell, they didn't have an offensive line for the first 3 years they were a franchise.
They didn't, and he got sacked 72 times. Well, you know what they were able to do in the first game they ever played? Beat the Cowboys.
They did. I remember that.
Tony Baselli.
Cowboys been a disappointment
Tony
for a long
Baselli
time.
was their first overall pick in the expansion draft.
But he didn't play. He just
No, Tony
retired.
Baselli was for the Jags.
He knew.
That was the Jags, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he was
Tony
all
Baselli.
pro for the Jags.
Tony
He went to the
Baselli.
Texans?
Yeah.
He was the left tackle for the Jags during the 90s, and then when they had the
You remember
expansion
the
draft,
Texans?
Because you can only protect so
he
many
never
players.
played.
Ah.
He never played.
All right, so I mean, look at the Texans though. Like, why did they even draft a franchise quarterback knowing what that line was?
I mean, the Browns did the same thing with Tim
Yeah.
Couch back in
And
the day.
Bengals with Burrow.
I mean, you just hope, but at least the Bengals had. Well, no, they didn't really have. A
I mean, but at that time, you were like, I hate this pick
I
because
did.
we have nobody to protect him.
Well, and you know what's pissing me off is like people left and right are coming up to me and saying like, "Is Joe Burrow, injury prone? Is it time to move on?" I'm like, man, I don't think that's fair. I mean, the upside's so big, and
Just get him a girlfriend to wear a onesie, a white onesie, and then he's good to go.
dude, Jack Browning's
Back in the game.
Speaking of which, have you tracked? You shared it in our group chat. Where has she went from
Let me-
that day to now as far as followers? Because she has had to have tripled or
Do you
quadrupled.
remember what her name is? So when I looked at it, she had 14,000 followers.
I just know she's a Cincinnati weather girl.
Is that what she is?
She's a weather girl.
So she's a real smoke show.
Did she pass Brittany Mahomes in followers? That's
No
what
way.
I'd like to know.
All right, her name is no. There's no way. Man, I'm surprised. Only 56,000. Wouldn't you think it'd be over 100K?
Yeah.
I mean, you look at these pictures, but she doesn't.
I mean, hell,
post
the
very
beard
often.
chugging group grew faster than that
It
during
did.
COVID.
I mean, how's that not 100,000 followers?
I agree.
I mean, isn't it funny how hot girls get hate by other women? Because
It
she's
is.
wearing the ski outfit, and look, she knows what she's got. Like, two things can be true. She knew she looked good when she wore that, but it's also a winter outfit. You know what I mean? But man, everybody wants to hate on that.
You
But
never wear white after Labor Day.
what's before? it's January. It's before Labor Day.
So, but is it before or after? When is
Yeah.
the cutoff?
That's
Yeah.
true.
Figure that one out.
Valentine's Day.
All right. I got to go back to this whole thing I want to talk about because somebody we know, and we're not going to mention the name on air out of respect for privacy, but I'm distracted by your dog, Mr. Brown. What is Marley doing here? Marley's trying to get on our computer.
Marls.
And
No.
do we need to give Marley a microphone? Is that what's wrong?
Maybe. He's been locked up all day. He's just trying to venture out. That's
I
all.
think
Marley's
Marley
just
is.
perching on my shoulder like a kitty.
He's making sweet love in the Canadian
He
Biggie.
keeps calling your dog a girl.
Oh, I know.
Does that piss you off?
No, it's kind of like our show today with Nit's kids. So I felt bad for him.
That was messed up.
Yeah.
So we do have a awesome lion segment for an episode that's going to drop later this week. Web, you guys.
I
check it out.
immediately caught on, but our guest did not.
I was trying to act like it didn't happen. I didn't know how to control the situation. it's 2024, and when you misgender people, bad things happen.
Exactly.
We used to be a proper country. Anyway, so Biggie, the most you ever won was $1,200 on gambling.
$1,296.
$1,296.18 or whatever you said. So I'm going to say some team names. This is all college basketball. Have you bet on? Wait, no, Marley. Damn it!
It's still going. It's still
What
going.
does the computer say?
It says
Marley
there
just
was
jumped
a
on the
problem
keyboard. Put him on the ground.
with your last action.
That's all we got to do.
Problem with your last action hero.
Yeah, that was because the dog tried to be the audio engineer there.
It's still rolling.
Good thing the dog only weighs like 3 pounds.
Yes,
That helps a lot.
You just want to be part of the show. See, here's the thing, Dad. If you trim my eye hairs, I could see where I'm going.
He knew exactly where he was going.
Yeah, he was going where he wanted to
He
go.
was coming over here to this
right
glass
on the
with
damn table.
American honey.
He's going for that honey.
The only thing that looks better than Canadian Biggie is that soundboard.
what did Gary Busey
I
say?
do use
honey.
I
on the
do
lips.
use
Yes, exactly.
Dr. Squatch soap. So just saying, I smell good too.
All right, Biggie, you ever bet on Western Carolina? Or Mercer or CSU Northridge or Southern University or Lipscomb or UC Davis? How about
I've bet on every one of those teams you just named except for Lipscomb.
Drexel? What about St. Thomas? I didn't even know they were a major college basketball program.
Well, they're not a major college.
Well, they're on
They're now,
DraftKings.
they're now
But
on
you can't
DraftKings.
bet on them.
California Baptist?
No.
I know you've bet on Grand Canyon.
Oh, yeah, baby.
How about these?
Grand Canyon U, enrollment of 33,000. Dan Marley was their first head coach.
What the hell are the San Diego Tritons?
That one I've not bet on.
They played Cal Poly for what it's worth. So this is a
It's an interesting bet slip.
it's a very interesting bet slip. But what if I told you that
You gotta be more Morpheus.
Can I?
What if I
What
told
if I
you?
told you that there's more to the story? What if I told you that someone who's in this room right now, their relative might have thrown $100 on a 25-leg parlay and hit every single leg of this parlay and turned $100 into $226,000.
I'd say that's one hell of a story. You tell the grandkids about that one. And I would also say I'm not a Morpheus guy. I'm a Paul Harvey. And now for the
Now
rest.
you know the rest. Well, anyway, yeah, that happened this weekend.
Who did that?
Mongo's relative that was in town.
The relative.
This secret relative?
That's
No,
a relative.
we're just trying to be polite, and not reveal who just won $250,000 by playing FanDuel on random college basketball games because in their state they can't do it, but because they're in West Virginia, why
They
the
can
hell
do it.
not?
Yeah.
All I know is that no one has league dues this year.
Dude, like $250,000. He turned $100 into $250,000.
I don't see how that's possible.
His
No,
wife was very angry with
Well-
him because he kept talking about it while she was trying to sleep until like 3 a.m.
Like, how could you sleep? You just won $250,000.
Well, you wouldn't be able to. Well, the thing about it, too, is that it's anytime you do, even if you're betting favorites, by the time you get to the 7th, when you go from 6 to 7, that's a magic number. It does something for the multiplier. So, like, I've done 12-leg parlays where $10 becomes 347, and you're not betting any dogs. Like, the further you get into it, even betting favorites,
It helps, right?
Yeah.
Because the probability, but a 25-leg parlay, like I don't know
that's
what
something
the odds
that you
of
would
that
see
are.
online. Like, SportsCenter would show
that would be an article you'd find.
Yeah.
Like what?
I didn't know
Is
they
it like
could
the
do
Powerball?
25.
I mean, it can't be an easy odds.
No, DraftKings is the furthest you can go is 20 legs with DraftKings.
So that's why he was using FanDuel.
FanDuel is much better than DraftKings. Just saying.
Biggie, while we're at it, if we have a problem with gambling, who do we call?
1-800-GAMBLER or 1-800-GAMBLER.net.
I don't think we're calling that number. I think I'm switching off DraftKings and going to FanDuel if that's the odds I'm getting.
I'm going to gamble.
So if a friend of yours does that, are you happy for him or are you jealous and pissed?
Yes.
Well, it depends which friend it is. If it's one of my fellow degenerate gamblers where we share our bad beats, I'm very happy for him because he wasn't a quitter. He stayed the course. If it's a newbie Like somebody just turned 18 and bought a Powerball ticket and they won it. I'm like,
That's kind of how this
hell
feels.
with you.
Or if it's a matter of the rich get richer.
Yeah.
Isn't that how it works?
No one likes that.
Because
Where's my cut of it?
I wouldn't put $100 on a 25-leg parlay. I might put $100 on a 5-game.
Yeah.
But I'm not doing. I feel like it's just burning money.
Yeah.
I'm sure if your wife had that money to give, Chad, you'd spend her money.
Maybe
You go to the root of it. If you've got $100 to throw on a 25-leg parlay, you probably didn't need to win it.
The first thing I did was because I got to see it in the app, and before I even looked at anything else, I started scrolling up to seeing if this was a problem. Because I'm like, what type of person bets on a 25-leg college basketball parlay on those teams I just mentioned? And then the second question was, so you just randomly picked these? And he assured me, no, I did research. And I called bullshit. There's no way you did research on the San Diego Tritons.
Actually, if you want to, you can go into a couple different handicapping websites, and they will give you picks. You can actually pay for picks, too.
I feel like that's
don't,
a scam. I feel
but I
like
know people that do.
every time you see, like in FanDuel or DraftKings, it's like, hey, we're running these special parlays.
Don't do those.
No, they're doomed. Like, they know they're not going to pay out. They already know what's going to happen.
Now, there's guys out there that say that they use AI for predictive betting, and you can buy their service and all that kind of stuff. I'm not into any of that because at the end of the day, it's people out there playing. But if you pay attention, follow some trends, you can have a well-educated guess.
You don't want to follow AI because you feel like it's going to kill us all.
Dude, I've told you this before. Why don't we learn from movies? Like Terminator did this 30 years, almost 40 years ago.
Is our
We're
future
about to activate
more
Skynet.
Is it more Terminator 2 or is it more Matrix?
Ooh. No, Terminator 2. Because that cop seemed like he meant well.
Yeah.
And he didn't.
They're not going to need us.
Yeah.
Did you know Daenerys Targaryen, she's in one of the Terminator movies?
How many Terminator movies are there?
Like 6?
I think there's 5 with Arnold.
5 with Arnold.
Yeah.
What about the one with Christian Bale when he was like cussing at everybody and being a dick to everybody on set?
Listen to me.
Isn't he always like that?
He is a crazy person.
I saw this meme. It's the greatest thing I ever saw. It's like if you're trying to go out with a girl and she wants to know what you look like, you tell her you look like Christian Bale. You just don't tell her which Christian Bale. Because you got Batman Christian Bale, you got Dick Cheney Christian Bale, you got anorexic Christian Bale.
He is a man of many hats and looks and apparently sex appeal. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah, sorry. I got way off track.
What's your favorite version of Christian Bale, Biggie?
Oh.
Which one arouses you the most?
I'm Batman.
You like the Batman one.
Where is he?
I'm not wearing hockey pads.
I'm going spelunking in the Alps.
Spelunking.
Spelunking.
In the Alps. That's not exactly what that is, but we'll ride it out anyway. All right, main topic tonight is the which sport has the best playoff scenario or the best format. So the big change over the past couple of years is, the NFL's expanded the season. They've added the wild card. Now you only have one team that gets a bye. And, we're bringing that up because this time of year, it's January. Playoffs are in full swing. And, we have a lot of conversation about baseball playoffs and how that's kind of been tweaked and changed over the year. And I feel like baseball's in this weird spot where every offseason, they feel like they got to change something. And it's starting to aggravate me.
I mean, Manfred's the master of tinkering. And, to me, I think he got this mindset that he's trying to compete with NFL, but in reality, baseball's never going to compete with the NFL anymore. So you got to compete against yourself, essentially. Like, the fans like the product. Why do you got to keep tinkering with it?
Well, here's what I think is that I would like to give you the breakdown on how the NHL changed their playoff format, but
I was
can't
actually trying to
explain
look
it.
that up right now because I know it's weird and I don't know how it works.
So the NHL used to be like the NBA. It was traditional 1 through 8, and that's how you played it all the way out. They changed it a couple of years ago. Bonehammer knows the ins and outs of it. I don't like it. I think it's real gimmicky. I think the NFL has the best setup because your number 1 seed doesn't know who they're playing until all the games of that weekend have been played. I
do like that. I
wish that the MLB would do that too.
Does NFL have reseeding or not?
Well, it's not really reseeding, but what it is the number 1 seed is guaranteed to play the lowest remaining seed.
Yeah,
so
that's reseeding.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's
I would say
reseeding. So
that's what the baseball needs to have.
yeah. So
We
instead
really
of
felt that this year, right?
Oh, absolutely.
you're not necessarily playing
Baseball
the
needs to
winner
have
of
a
a
seeding to where the
series.
Braves don't play the Phillies.
Or maybe
Whatever we need to do to make it
just
work.
get rid of the bye.
Yeah.
That's what needs to happen.
Yeah.
So, I other than football, like buys are kind of pointless, right? Unless it was like a single
Yeah,
elimination.
in football, you take the bye.
Right.
Baseball, you need that repetition for a 162-game season. Football, you need to freaking rest.
So baseball changed their postseason, and I feel like they went a little bit backwards because of how they do it. They don't reseed, so you're not really rewarding your better teams. The NFL changes its postseason, and they one up everybody again. You go from 2 byes to 1. So now to be the best team of your conference is super important, and then they reseed. So that earning that number 1 seed got you the bye week and the worst team. You should be in your championship game based off what you did in the regular season. I think baseball should do that.
I'm going to go a little outside of traditional sports. NASCAR killed their sport by going to a playoff format.
You're not wrong. I mean, NASCAR.
They
was
thought they were too
popular
big
for
to
a minute.
fail.
They were up and coming. They were rising, and they put in a playoff. And now you're dead. You're dead to me.
They did what college football did. They forgot about their regional roots and their rural roots and the communities that kind of support their programs, and they tried to go too broad and too national. And so if you were already elite, it was fine. But like those middle of the road, like they kind of got left behind. And then the playoff thing was so stupid because, I don't know, that's just not what sometimes you got to remember tradition in some things. And I think NASCAR was one of those. I couldn't tell you 5 NASCAR racers alive today that are currently racing if I had to. But when I was like 25, I feel like I could tell you 15 of them.
I agree with that. I felt like there were bumper stickers and everything was out there. The T-shirts. I mean, but it's not like that anymore.
My favorite was like, I don't like that Jeff Gordon. He's Hollywood.
yeah.
Motherfucker's from Indiana.
Yeah.
But he
Right,
just
it's
wasn't
fine.
from Georgia.
Exactly. I mean, you're right. You could name like 10 NASCAR dudes back then, and now it's like, I could name one of them.
No. If I saw him in a commercial, I wouldn't recognize him.
The only one I know is because I know some people that are NASCAR fans. I just tell everybody I like Joey Logano because apparently everybody hates him. And that's
Well,
just
he's
fun.
the young. He's a Joe Gibbs guy. Joe Gibbs Racing.
I think he just wrecks people. That's why I like him.
He was the
You
kid.
don't kill him like smoke. Tony Stewart.
He was the kid on the tail end of the run, and now he's like in the middle of his career.
It is true though. If 15 years ago, early 2000s, when we were in our early 20s, you could name, a Jimmy Johnson, Jeff Gordon, Dale Earnhardt Jr.,
Mark Martin.
Tony
Martin.
Stewart.
Nice Mark Martin drop. Biggie just wanted to name all the
Dick
ones he
Trickle?
knew. Dick Trickle. Everybody knew.
Dick
He drove the
Trickle.
spam car.
Mhm.
Why would you? Why would
I
you
bet
name
if we
your
sat
kid
here
that?
for a minute,
That's
we
terrible.
could name 10 or 12 between us. But now
Lake
I know
Speed.
Joey Logano, and I know.
Danica Patrick.
Yeah, but she's still racing, right?
Yeah.
Juan
She
Pablo
hasn't been racing
Montoya.
for
Why
5
years.
years.
The guy that had the thing in his shop,
What?
they got a
The Noose.
Oh,
The
Bubba
token
Wallace.
black guy.
Bubba
Bubba
Wallace.
Wallace.
Bubba Wallace. Yeah.
Is that not Jordan Racing?
I think
Jordan
so.
racing.
Yeah.
Yeah, Jordan
Yeah,
knows
he
his
does.
team.
His,
Jordan
he
owns
he
his
does
team.
racing,
I didn't
but
know that.
a lot of his racing is like the crotch rocket
Ah,
stuff.
okay, gotcha.
I'm sure there's money in that. Like, who watches that on TV? Do you know anybody who like goes home after work and like turns on the Ocho and watches like super bike racing? Like, who does that? Who's watching that show?
I'm not. I'll go to a show if it came to Charleston, to like the Civic Center or something. The motocross stuff. It's really cool to see in person, but that's other than that, who cares?
As far as playoff formats, NASCAR killed themselves with theirs. How do you feel about college football? Are they helping their case? Are they getting better with their 12-team format?
I think in this case, it's definitely helping.
If you're going to do it, go do it. I think what they've done for the last 20 years has been stupid.
Well, to me, with the transfer portal and the NIL, I feel like that you put your 12 teams in, and then like, and I'm saying wishful thinking. Us as WVU fans are looking forward to next year and seeing the weaker conference. But if you would happen to win out based on what we've done this year, you could finish in the top 12.
It opens the door.
So every franchise, or not franchise, you have a
Might
program.
as well be now.
Yeah, it really is. But like for like the WVUs of the world, if you're getting into that 12-team playoff every 5 years, it keeps it intriguing for the fans.
It keeps you relevant. I think what college football did going from 4 to 12 instead of like an 8, and we'll see how it goes, is pretty much the perfect scenario. And to what
Well,
Chad
because-
said,
real
why
quick,
did we
because-
do?
Yeah, I mean, I'm just saying, like, there's some programs and some fans that are like Alabama, and of course, I know Saban left, but there are programs that expect to be there every year with the 4-team format, and then there are teams that would happy to be there every 5 years in the 12-team format. So I feel like we're appealing to the masses here, and if you can feel like you can be in the top 15 area, you got a chance.
It's going to improve viewership, I think.
I think so.
Yeah, it's just the same thing they did when they add the wild cards to the professional sports. Now, the 10, 12, 13, 14 ranked team at the beginning of November, their fan base is still really super involved because a strong finish means you're getting in the playoff.
Well, and let's say this. So, like, in years past, you didn't make the 14 playoff. You make the 12-team playoff. You win a few games, you roll off, and you get into, like, the finals or the top 4. How much is that going to improve your recruiting for the next several years?
You're damn right it puts you on the map. Because guys want to play under the cameras because that whole opt out of the bowl game thing, you're doing that a lot of times if you're playing at the Duke Mayo's Bowl.
So, like, to me, it's like one of those, like, the UCFs or whoever, Boise State, like the teams that have went there and they never got a chance. Let's say they go to the tournament and they reel off a few wins in the tournament. That could mean everything for that program. Sorry, that's my point.
And that's kind of what's happened, right? Like, we've seen this before, and you kind of have revisionist history. It's like, man, if we would have this format back then, what would happen? Or the counterpoint is, do you lose that magical moment because it doesn't mean as much? Because Boise State and Oklahoma will remember it because it wasn't supposed to happen.
Right.
Like, for years, the little brother schools, your Central Floridas, your Boise States, even to a lesser degree, like your Cincinnatis and ones like that, like, they were never getting a seat at the table.
No, I will never forget Utah. They weren't a Power 5 school, coached by Urban Meyer.
Yep.
Upset Alabama in Nick Saban's first year as head coach when Alabama outperformed their expectations.
Second year.
Second year?
Yeah. First year they were like 6, 7, and 6.
Oh, they didn't make a bowl the first year?
That second year at Alabama, they were great. They only lost one game. It was the SEC title game. To what you just said, they were supposed to stomp Utah, and they got their dicks kicked in.
They did.
Nice memory. I remember that one.
Yeah.
I think what helps college, too, is where there's so many teams, the dynamic different styles and whatnot, like, that's what makes the playoffs exciting. It's kind of, and I don't want to go down the March Madness rabbit hole yet because I feel like that deserves its own time, but that's what's nice about March Madness is you can have two completely conflicting styles match up multiple times in that bracket. So I'm hoping football gives us that.
Well, let's fast forward to this year. There's nothing any of you can say to me that would convince me otherwise that Georgia wouldn't have put up a better game against Michigan than Washington did. And they didn't even make the tournament.
And that's not taking anything away from Washington.
It's not.
They deserve to be there.
I'm just saying, I feel like Michigan was number 1 all year long. They lost to a good Alabama team in a conference championship. They fall past
Georgia,
number 4, which shouldn't have happened. And I feel like they had to put up a better game against Michigan.
Number 1 for years, not just not
3 years really. So if you had to change anything about the current format that we're about to go to, would you change anything, or you just want to kind of ride this one out?
Say we let it ride, man.
I like it. I'm excited about it. I'm excited
too.
about the 12-team format.
The only thing I would like to see, if it isn't already in place, and I mean, it'll probably work out this way, we basically have 4 power conferences left.
Yep.
If you win your conference, you make the tournament.
Automatic bids, right? Which
That's the only thing I'd like to see, because that's 4 of your 12. So that
That's
still
not the
means
case now?
you can take 5 SEC teams. I don't know if it's the case.
It'd
or
have
not.
to be, wouldn't it?
It should be, but I feel like a year where somebody wins the ACC or the Big 12 and they finish 9-4.
No, I feel like that
They
team
wouldn't
that wins
get
the
in.
conference is going to get in.
Okay.
I mean, I
They
think.
should. I get what you're saying though, but I feel like with less conferences,
No, you're
now,
right,
the
though, because
Pac-12's
like
gone.
ACC or the – but here's the thing.
There's only
Before
4
they're so
left.
watered down, I feel like there's going to be a team that's going to be like upper echelon.
Yeah.
Because I feel like 8 of the 12 every year right now, I can name 8 teams, and they're from the Big 10.
We could probably
and the
name
SEC.
70% of the field next year right now.
We can name 8 of the 12 right now.
You're probably right.
And they're SEC and Big 10 teams. So that's what I'm saying. If like we were just saying, West Virginia finished the season at 10-3. 10 wins is good. They win the Big 12. They win the 10-3 should get you in. You won the Big 12. We're number 12. Put us in. Not, let's put in this other Missouri who is from, I just.
The other Missouri.
Missouri did have a
Not
good
just
year.
Missouri, but the
Yeah,
other Missouri.
but like, I guess my point is I'd like to
Southwestern
see
Missouri State.
those conferences still get represented, and I hope that they are.
Do you want to see the MAC with a seat at the table?
If you're an undefeated team, yes.
Let's go Toledo.
100%. I'm with you, Biggie. if there is an undefeated group of 5 team, they deserve to be there.
But if they're undefeated, wouldn't they be ranked in the top 12, you would think?
No.
No, they
Not
won't.
if you're Liberty or Coastal Carolina.
They might be ranked 22nd, but say right down the road from us, Marshall goes undefeated. You don't think that they deserve a chance
Now,
to be
wait,
number
pump
12?
the brakes for a second. Wasn't Liberty undefeated going into their bowl game this year?
I think-
So
no,
how
they
that
had one
turned out.
loss.
They had one loss, and what would they lose like by a jillion?
Quack, quack, quack.
Is that who it was? Oregon?
Yes, sir.
And they probably didn't play all
You
their
got to let those little schools play, even if they're just there.
just
to
so
be
they know
a-
their place and they get their ass
No,
stomped.
because even
It
that,
keeps their
the
program
fact
alive.
that they're at the table, it
does.
does. You, like, recruits still come back. Like, would you want the chance to play Oregon or a similar school? That's how you sell it.
Well,
No-
that's part of the smaller schools
agree.
going to play the bigger schools is selling it to your kids
Right.
that
Absolutely.
you're going to Alabama, you're going to Georgia to play.
See, you hear about those. You hear about the schools that don't do so well. You don't hear as much about like the Utah that was coached by Urban Meyer that beat Alabama, or the Boise State that beat Oklahoma. The people outside of the Power 5 that belong to be there that should have been in the playoff if it was there at 12 teams. I believe they deserve to be there.
All right.
I completely agree with you.
I don't think we're arguing about this. So college football, we're going to let it ride. We're good there. That gave me time, as you guys were passionately discussing that, to just go back to the NHL for a second, just to summarize it. The NHL realigned into a 4-division, 2-conference system. So under the postseason system, what they do is that the top 3 teams in each division make the playoffs, and then 2 wild cards in each conference, which gives you a total of 8 in each. And then they reseed each round. And it's a best of 7, and it goes 2-2, 1-1-1, whatever. So
And then
That's
the other
hockey.
thing they do in the NHL is,
they do points and all that stupid crap, and I don't understand
like-
any of it.
yeah, like one doesn't play 8 anymore. It's
It has to do with like your points. It's not
Yeah.
your record. It's like if you, I don't know, they do ties
weird.
too. How are we still doing ties in hockey? Can we not go to a
well, they don't
shootout?
do ties anymore.
They don't do ties.
but
at
what they
all?
do is it's wins, losses, and shootout wins or something.
I'm
like
looking
that.
at the standings right now because if they stop doing ties, I feel like that snuck by me.
Well, no, it's a.
They
So
were there
they
with
have the
soccer
third
scores.
column, but instead of when it comes to go to a tie, they do a shootout. I believe.
Well, that's in the playoffs.
Don't they do it in the regular season?
Do that, but then if they don't,
Because if you get a shootout win, it's only worth 1 point, where a regular win is worth 2 points.
God, we don't watch hockey at all, do we?
Let's just skip hockey and let's move on.
My God, have they already played this many games in hockey? The Boston Bruins record is 44-27.
Yeah.
It's January. How many games has the NBA played? Speaking of playoffs,
Holy crap! The NBA's played about 50. It's real weird because the NBA All-Star game is supposed to be your midseason point, but for the NBA, it's like the 70% point.
So the only thing I have on the NBA is I don't give a shit about the the play-in tournament.
that doesn't count.
Same. I'm with you.
I mean, but like you're going up to 10 teams now in each conference, right? We're talking about losing teams, whereas historically in the Eastern Conference for the last 20 years, the 8th seed is always under 500. Okay, but it's trash. I do like one thing that weirdo
The alien.
lizard man
Always lizard man. now.
decided to do. If you don't play at least 65 games, you're not eligible for postseason awards, which I like.
I love that.
Is that impacting the game in a positive way, you feel like?
There's less rest days.
Well, I mean, your incentives are tied to that as a player, right?
Well, a lot of contracts are first team All NBA is a $2 million bonus, or league MVP is $5 million, and that different stuff. I'm sure that they'll stop tying it into that now, but there's guys like Bradley Beal, who's a top 15 player in the league when he's healthy, so he's third team All NBA at the least, who isn't eligible for anything because he missed 17 of the first 18 games of the year.
I didn't even know Bradley Beal was
This
still
is
relevant
the
like that.
this is the Kawhi Leonard rule.
That's exactly what it is. Didn't they just
Paul
sign
George.
Did they just sign
Yeah,
him
they
to
signed him to an extension.
Do you vibe with
Make
that?
that make sense.
I'm asking.
I don't want no part of that. I
Well,
don't.
I look at it like this. He's 32. They want him to retire as a Clipper. A 3-year deal takes him to 35.
Hold on. I'm gonna stop you right now. Kawhi Leonard and Joe Flacco have the best 2 agents in the history of the world.
Well, at least cool. Well, they both have a ring, I guess. That's what it was.
I've never seen a man live off of what he did in Toronto with that shot that run around the rim from the corner and bounced in and out like 16 times and it went in, and he's made a living out of that. Good for him.
Yeah, where the
Hey.
people, the reaction of the people on the bench was probably more famous than the actual shot.
Because it took so long.
He's won a title with 2 different teams and been the best player on each team when he did it.
All right, so if people don't understand how the NBA playoffs work, you got the playing games. It's 7, 8, 9, and 10. Is that how it works? And 7 plays 10, 8
No,
plays.
7 plays 8. The winner of that's automatically in as the 7th seed. The loser
They have to play
plays
again.
the winner of 9 and 10,
Yeah.
and the winner of that's the 8 seed.
And it's just one game, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I don't like that.
They
like
do
Chicago
that just
was
to
in
get,
it last year.
garner more interest, but to me, it's like it's so watered down.
I mean,
is.
they are doing it just for TV, right?
Yeah,
That's
right.
got to be what it is because nothing else is going on. Here's this one game.
I mean, but it's like you're a 10th seed in the West. Congratulations, you get the Bucks. I'm sorry, I mean the Nuggets. The Nuggets.
it was
sorry.
the Lakers rule, right? Because the Lakers were going to miss the playoffs. a
Well,
couple
the
times.
Lakers
They're like,
are
let's
the
put them in the
11.
playing game.
They're the 10 or the 11 right now.
See, that's what I'm saying. It's the LeBron Lakers rule.
They have completely fell apart since that whatever that.
They are 5 and
What
12.
was that little tournament they called? What was that called?
The in-season tournament.
Yeah, they have fell apart since then.
How the hell can it be a tournament if all the games count for regular season
So,
stats?
do you just rip the banner down now if you don't even make the playoffs?
I don't know. That's some
I
of
mean,
the
really, like you hang a
cheesiest
banner
crap.
for an in-season tournament, and now if you don't make the playoffs, do we leave it up? That's embarrassing.
Yeah.
That's not what Lakers do. Kobe Bryant said it himself. We only hang championship banners.
Yeah, my kids, if they win,
Amazing how that's changed.
if they win a participation trophy, I just like
throw
throw
it
it
in
in
the
the
fireplace.
trash. Yeah,
We're talking about the historical franchise of the Los Angeles Lakers hanging a banner of an in-season tournament. You got the Celtics, you got the Lakers, and there's everybody else. They don't need that banner.
No, I mean, if you're the Thunder and you do that,
You take
if
that.
you're the Grizzlies,
Yes.
I'm down.
Even the Bulls wouldn't hang it. But like the Grizzlies, absolutely.
If you got at least 2 titles,
The
you can't be
Clippers,
hanging that shit.
hang that shit.
Yes,
Put it up in the Staples Center, whatever it's called now, right
No,
beside of the other
They're
ones.
building that new stadium. Have you seen that?
They don't play together still?
No, they are this year, but
you
they're
put it
they're
up there by
building
the Lakers and be like, hey, we're trying to try too.
So they still play
Clippers
together
banners
now.
hanging
But
there.
it's called.
Look at our banner, guys.
Isn't it a Bitcoin stadium?
It's another-
crypto.
yeah. What the
it's
hell?
It's the crypt. It's crypto.com.
crypt-
No, that's the Staples Center.
no, I'm
It's-
pretty sure
yeah,
that's
the
like
Staples became crypto.
Right, but isn't the Clippers?
the
something-
Clippers are building a new one in Inglewood where the Lakers played back in the 80s.
But
Yeah.
doesn't it have a crypto name too?
Yeah.
Or
Well,
it's
I'm not
going
sure.
to.
Lakers going to be Bloods.
I don't even know how to recover. But
I can't wait to see the murals. What do you call them? The murals out there with that.
Oh yeah,
It's going to be adding extra color to that.
little street paintings
Yeah, exactly.
going.
I'm gonna see if I can get the name of this thing. But the shots I saw of it, like if you look at the upper deck of this new arena they're building for the Clippers, it's like straight up like they're calling it the Wall or something like that. I was wrong. It's not crypto. It's Intuit.
That's
new-
the Clippers' new
the
one.
new
It's the Intuit Dome.
The new one.
Yes, they're building it.
That's strategical by them because it's around tax time during the playoffs.
I guess you're going to see that shit everywhere.
TurboTax.
My question,
Do it yourself.
My question though is, how is the attendance going to be for the Clippers when they are on their own in their own stadium in Inglewood? Are they going to be new stadium? Will they be top 10 in the league in attendance?
Depends if they're as good as they are this year after a rough start. And
I don't think so.
I should probably look and see where they rank now.
they're I don't know what their attendance is, but their record, they're like the 4th best team in the West. If they've got a good team, people will come watch you play.
Just Billy Crystal.
The problem with LA is that there are so many other things to do there that the sports crowd isn't as diehard as what you would find in cold weather cities. You know, like the Yankees, New York, they're diehard fans.
No, and I agree with you. Like the Dodgers are rolling. Even with Ohtani, they're going to roll in by the 5th inning.
Yeah.
Like, no care in the world.
The Clippers are number 12 in attendance. I didn't think they'd be above 15.
I was with you.
Even as good as they are.
I'm not sure that goes up. I don't know.
Yeah, I mean, is it enough to? I don't know. We'll see. Do you know who the number 1 NBA team in attendance is?
I'm going to go with the Warriors.
The Warriors they got a new stadium too. Where are the Warriors at?
They're not in top 10.
Oh no.
Those tickets got expensive and the team got bad.
The Warriors are less than the Clippers.
Oh, wow.
That don't surprise
They're
me.
number 16.
I'm going to go with the Knicks.
The Knicks are number 4.
I love that.
So we're talking attendance.
The
Yes.
76ers are number 3. The
I'm
Chicago
saying-
Bulls, number 2.
Still?
What's because of United Center's
Boston
massive.
Celtics.
Celtics are number 9.
Oh.
I'm saying the Nuggets are number 1.
You would think, but they're number 6. Number 1 is the Dallas Mavericks.
Wow.
I mean, there you
Luka.
go. And, all right, how about the worst?
Oh, the Hornets.
Ding, ding, ding. Mr. Brown walks away.
First
he
try.
walks off with that one.
First try.
Who was it?
Mr.
I didn't
Brown.
hear you.
All right.
Let's just call them the Bobcats.
Okay.
That's so sad. So back to playoff formats.
I mean, real before quick. So the Hornets are a team you go to watch to see the opposing team.
right.
coming
You're
to town.
only going. So imagine
You're
how
not coming to watch the Hornets.
how pissed are you if you buy tickets to a Hornets game and you show up and you want to see Steph Curry and he's taking a rest day.
Well, that's what pisses me off. Sorry to interrupt you. I looked at Hornets tickets last year because I wanted to take Isaac to a Hornets Warriors game because it's hard to watch Steph Curry play. I
Mongo
looked at
Shitty's
Cleveland.
fans.
It was middle of December. Didn't want to do it. I figured we'll go see LaMelo Ball play. Well, the tickets when the Warriors come to town for where we were going to sit were $187 a ticket, and they weren't good seats.
That's not good. No one wants to pay for that. Like gone are the days when you had LJ and Morning and Muggsy Bogues when they actually had their own
That
product
was when I was a fan. I had jerseys. I had jackets. I was a Hornets fan.
before they left and came back.
I went to Nolans.
You got the Stada jacket.
sorry.
Oh my God, Mongo! Oh, he
Adam.
just shit his pants.
You're downwind.
We're
I'm
taking
glad.
a-
I'm glad I'm on the other
so
side.
We're
sorry.
taking a break. We'll come back and talk about baseball playoffs and then the NFL. All right, while we air out the man cave, we decided to reach out and we had somebody from the NFL as Life group join us. Talk a little bit of Vikings, a little bit of hate on the Cowboys. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. Check it out. We appreciate the support. Make sure you follow us on all forms of social media. And we got a ton of fun Facebook groups out there. This guy, again, NFL is Life on Facebook. All right, ladies and gentlemen, we're going to take a quick second and do a little detour here because we have a huge episode coming up later in the week where we talk to our Lions fans. But what the hell? We thought it's the season for the NFL playoffs. And, for some reason, the Vikings aren't in it. But we have a Vikings fan who wanted to come on and he's got a couple things to get off his chest. But, Mark, welcome to the show. How's it going, brother?
Pretty good, man. How are y'all?
I'm doing well. I think you're
Fantastic. Marcus,
probably more than fantastic.
I'm feeling pretty good right now, but I've also got to add, I haven't revealed to you yet that I'm a Bears fan.
Oh,
Oh, wait, did you double
Honestly.
cross him? Did he try to double cross you just now? Is that what this is?
That's what happened.
well, for what it's worth, I don't hate Bears or Lions fans. I just feel bad for them.
They're just irrelevant to you, right?
Yeah. I don't like the Packers, though. I mean, that one goes without saying. No
So
one does.
what happens as a Vikings fan? What if Detroit does the impossible? Does that change your stance at all?
Yeah, probably a little bit. I mean, we haven't been to one since 76, so I'd have to see it at that point.
What year were you born?
I was born in 92, but I do
so-
think it's funny how have you seen ticket prices for this weekend with the Bucks and Lions, man? They're like over 1,100.
Yeah, the cheapest ticket is like 500, and it's like the top of the stadium back against obstructed view. It's stupid.
Did you happen
know,
to
man.
Did you happen to see the reporter that tried to talk about outdoor conditions at the Lions games?
Why would he do that? They play in a dome.
That's a good question.
That's a good question.
We
That's a
weren't
good
sure.
question.
Todd Bowles was like, well, it's like 5 feet from the bus into the heated tunnel. So, no, we're not really preparing for it that much. I think we'll be okay.
I would agree.
So what's going on with the Vikings, man? Kirk Cousins out for the year, all that stuff. How's it feel to be a Vikings fan right now?
Right now, we're in a really big state of limbo where everything we do next year depends on our offseason moves this year. So I could see us winning 5 games, and I could see us winning 11 games based on what happens in the offseason. So obviously, the biggest priority, that goes without saying, it's going to be extending Justin Jefferson, but it's kind of a foregone conclusion. Whatever he wants, realistically, he will end up getting it. But we still have a big hole in the middle of our team. Even if Kirk does get re-signed, our quarterback situation's still a little bit shaky because we don't know how he's going to perform coming off an Achilles tear. On top of that, we have no viable starting running backs. I'd be okay with signing Derrick Henry in the offseason, but it can't be more than a 2-year deal.
I don't think Henry can get more than 3 almost anywhere he goes. If somebody's offering him something like that, there's no way you can compete with it because that's going to be an outlier. But how do you feel about? Can you win a Super Bowl with Kirk Cousins? Are you confident in that?
You would put him in the same category as guys like Dak, where you can do it if maybe all the pieces around him are right, but he's not going to be the guy to elevate the team. He can only elevate a group of receivers. And quite frankly, he can't do anything about the fact that our linebackers aren't good and our secondary is even worse.
But how do you feel about you're talking about elevating a group of receivers? You can't feel any better than a group of Vikings receivers right now. How do you feel about Jordan Addison, who is second fiddle to Justin Jefferson?
I mean, as much as I like him as a talent and as a receiver, I think that we should have picked another lineman. Then again, I think the reason why they got scared off of drafting a lineman is because we already have great tackles. And even though our interior linemen aren't good, they're not going to pick another one in the first round because they know what happened last time we picked Gary Bradbury. Don't get fooled by the fact that he's on our second contract with us. He's clearly one of the worst centers in the league.
So perfect scenario offseason is going to include what for Minnesota? What would you do? If you're the GM and you got the magic wand, you got the keys to the kingdom, how do you right the ship?
I would sign Daniil Hunter to a 3-year contract with 2 guaranteed with an option for the 3rd year. I don't blame them if they want to keep cap flexibility going forward, but I mean, he's the only viable defensive piece we have at this moment. I wouldn't just let him go. We have huge needs in pretty much every other area because Harrison Smith is at the end of the road by all accounts. He had no picks last season. I didn't really notice him back there. I think it's time for us to go ahead and move on from him as well. Maybe we should draft a guy in like the 3rd round, but that's kind of how I feel about this team. It's a really weird state to be in.
So, and we're going to stay in division. How do you feel about the first pick in the draft with, I don't know, maybe the Chicago Bears?
I feel like nobody wants anything to do with this overall pick right now, the number 1 pick.
Yeah.
So what do you do if you're Chicago?
You have to trade it. It's
I'm
not even
with
their
you.
pick.
Yes. Yes.
What can you get for a first round pick for the 2024 NFL draft? Like what do you get in return for that?
Well, it depends. Who are you trading with? If it's a team like Atlanta, they had I believe it was the 8th overall pick. But either way, if you trade with Atlanta for what they're going to need as a quarterback, you're going to get at least a first next year. You're going to get a second this year, probably a second next year as well, maybe even another piece. It would look pretty similar to the trade that brought DJ Moore to Chicago last year.
You might be able to get Kyle Pitts in Chicago. How about that?
That would be something.
All right. So no, go ahead, Mongo. What you got?
All right. So how do you feel about the succession from Brett Favre to Aaron Rodgers to Jordan Love? How are you feeling right now in division about Jordan Love?
I mean, I don't think he's elite, but I would consider him top 12. Most people don't realize he threw 32 touchdowns and 11 picks. Those are pretty elite numbers. Even my entire life, those have been elite numbers. I know that the value of an average quarterback, we have no idea what it looks like at this point in time, but you can't discount Jordan Love because they did the right thing in terms of developing both him and Rodgers. They let both of them sit for a few years. And most teams,
I don't want to believe it. Like it's bullshit that you're able to just keep getting quarterbacks like this. Like how many bad quarterbacks can you name that Minnesota had during the time that Rodgers was there?
dude, we haven't even had a guy that we've drafted in the first other than Culpepper that started for us. I mean, we had Ponder, but we're going to pretend that one didn't happen.
We'll just, you got his wife too, right? Didn't that come with it? I guess that was better than just getting Christian Ponder.
That's true.
That's true.
From what I've seen, I would rather have Jordan Love over Justin Fields. How would you feel about having Jordan Love over Kirk Cousins?
At this point in time, I'd be cool with it. I mean,
Like
again,
the youth.
Kirk is 35.
So we've got some Lions fans coming up on the show in a couple days. You'll be on the Monday show. How do you feel about the Lions?
Yeah, give them a prediction for the weekend if you want to.
Actually, I have them winning this weekend. I picked 30-15 as the score. I don't think this one's going to be that close because, I mean, the Bucs, they're a nice story, but I think the Lions will probably get to the NFC Championship, but I don't see them doing anything once they get there. They have a really easy path, though.
So who do you have for your predictions? Who do you have right now? This week, who wins?
Okay. So this week I have Baltimore over Houston. That one's kind of self-explanatory, but I just think Houston's a young team that's going to run into a defensive buzzsaw. So I have that 35-13 Ravens. As for the Niners-Packers, that'll be a little bit more competitive, but I do expect the Niners to win. I picked that to be 37-24. Bills-Chiefs, that's going to be the game where whoever wins that is most likely coming out of the AFC.
I agree with that.
I have the Bills 26-18 right now, but it would not surprise me to see the Chiefs win. The biggest question here, do you trust Lamar to win a shootout against either Josh Allen or Mahomes?
I don't.
With that defense, though, does he have to win a shootout?
That's true.
That's what I'm wondering. Are they going to be able to play their brand of football? Because just like the Cowboys, the Ravens have to have their game going the way they want, or they're not going to be able to catch up.
Now, Mark, you're part of our NFL's Life group, and I asked you on the show a little bit to give us your take on the Cowboys. How do you feel about the Cowboys?
How about them Cowboys?
Well, I live in Dallas, so it's always a show around here, man. You never know what kind of roller coaster you ride you're going to get throughout. But this one surprised me a little bit because I picked them to go to the Super Bowl before the year started. Now, even entering the playoffs, I realized that was probably a bad pick. I thought they were going to lose to either the Eagles or the Niners if it came to it. But I surely thought they were going to take care of business against the youngest playoff team. If there was a play that truly ended the game, obviously it was the pick six because it summed up how this team can't play from behind. Again, I mentioned that was a fear I had with Baltimore, but did you see the coverage on the play itself? Did you see how they were lined up?
I didn't see any defenders at all.
Okay, so I'll break it down a little bit. It's a spin-off of a play that I run in Madden a lot. So do you know the play where you have two guys to the left running identical slant routes to the middle of the field, and then a guy on the right also running a slant?
Sure.
Okay, well, this was the same thing as that, except it had three guys all on the same side of the field running slants all to the middle, and then the guy on the outside was running a hitch route. So first off, Dak has to know that Brandon Cooks and CeeDee Lamb running to the middle of the field, you're going to draw a lot of defensive attention there. He had to know that was going to be the coverage before he snapped, but he didn't even look off of his guy. And that's why the guy guarding the outside receiver, Jair Alexander, he played off of him. He played back about 10 yards because he realized the guy that he was guarding was tight end Jake Ferguson. How do you line up on the outside with a tight end and expect people to take that serious? Because of that, safety Darnell Savage, he didn't have to play back in coverage. He was now able to move up into the middle of the field where multiple receivers were running his routes. So he had a quick decision to make. Do you take Cooks over the middle? Well, given that Dak didn't even look his way, he immediately focused towards Lamb, saw the pass coming from a mile away, and the rest was history.
Great take. So every year the Cowboys say this is our year.
Yeah.
I'm not ready to hear it again. How do you what are your predictions for the Cowboys?
Well, the sad part is you might have to hear it again because I don't agree with them bringing Mike McCarthy back, but I also don't really see another threat for the division next year. Philly's an interesting team, man. If you look at their point differential, it wasn't indicative of an 11-6 team. It was indicative of an 8-9 team at that.
There were two different teams. There was the first half Philly team that didn't ever really look great, but they just kept finding ways to win. Then there was the second half that was it was bad.
They were like the Pittsburgh Steelers of the NFC in the first half of the season.
Oh, I know what you're talking about. Like a few years ago when the Steelers started 11-0 and then just melted down the stretch.
Like that. And even this year, like how the hell did the Steelers make the playoffs? You know, nobody was scared of them. And Tampa surely was not scared of the Eagles in the playoffs. So do you think how many teams out of the NFC East make the playoffs next year?
It just cut out for a second. Do you mind repeating that real quick?
How many teams do you think from the NFC East will make the playoffs next year?
I think it will just be one, and it'll be the division winner.
Who do you think will be the division winner?
Unfortunately, I do think it'll be Dallas again. I think it'll be the same story, same old thing. You know, they beat up on teams in the regular season when it doesn't matter, and then same old story once you get to the postseason.
Which group is the most annoying fan base in the NFL's Life group?
In that particular group, I don't know, man. The Eagles fans were getting a little annoying when they were arguing with Cowboys fans all year, but I'm not going to say that Cowboys fans are innocent either.
I have a third option. What about the anti-Cowboys fans that don't shut up either? Like, you don't even know what team they
Okay.
like. They just hate the Cowboys.
Yep. Yeah, I often say, like, I hate Cowboys riders and I hate Cowboys haters more than anything else. I like Cowboys objective fans, unbiased.
That's fair enough. I appreciate that. Well, man, hey, you gave us 10 good minutes. We appreciate you joining us. We're gonna throw it in the middle of the show here and let everybody enjoy the listen. But just in closing, you got any thoughts on Minnesota? Anything else you want to share with us?
None for the Vikings, but I'm gonna say it here first. Bills Niners Super Bowl with Niners winning it.
Okay,
Ooh,
that's fair.
I like that one. That would be a good game, I think. But yeah, I think if they play, I'm with you on the Niners. I like that.
Who
Absolutely.
wins? Who wins? If it's Bills Niners,
You
you
just
can't.
said Niners.
The Niners,
said-
yeah.
Okay.
You got to get
I
with
did.
it, buddy. All right.
31-19.
See, this is why we don't do it live, so I can cut his nonsense out.
Yeah.
That's how this works.
I had a little drinky drink, Mark.
All right,
It's all
Mark,
good. So did I.
we're going to let you enjoy the rest of your evening. We got more show to do, but man, thanks for hopping on, and we'll send you some links once we get it up there so you can listen along. And man, anytime you want to drop us a line, we got our website. You can leave a voicemail, do anything like that. We'd love to hear from you anytime, bud.
Absolutely, man. You guys have been great. Thanks so
All right.
much.
Thanks,
Thanks,
Mark. Have a
Mark.
good one, buddy. All right, so we got a chance to hear from someone besides us. I don't know, where'd you find that guy?
NFL is Life, our Facebook group.
So just a reminder, if people want to come on the show, they can. We got the voicemail, and they can just pester Mongo and come on the show too.
That's right. If you want to message Mongo.
But I had to take a break, man. I thought you shit your pants. Did you? What did you hand me to drink? What is this? How do you say this beer?
Weinstefana.
It starts with a W, though.
Ja, das ist gut.
Nice.
Das ist gut. Wiener Schnitzel.
Holy shit, we just went backwards 80 years.
Why?
He sounds just like a true proud German.
He's moving to Buenos Aires.
I am moving to Buenos Aires. Quit
No,
trying to talk me out of
It's
it.
Uruguay, damn it! I'm telling you.
Has some Glühwein. Some.
Some Fanta? You want some Fanta too?
You're
in a
supposed to be
Volkswagen?
Italian, not German, pal.
That's true. But if you look at me, you know there's some German in there.
So you guys stopped by before the show and went to a little establishment that I think it's been like, what, 3 out of the last 5 weeks you guys have met up there? Is that how that's worked?
You're still.
Your mic
isn't
mic's
on.
not on, buddy.
We're trying to make it a tradition because we have like several members of our fantasy football team just show up, random dudes that don't do our show, just random appearances. So it's good to catch up.
Yeah, and then sometimes they follow us back to the cave.
Correct.
How's it going, Mikey?
We got
Yeah.
Mikey in our audience tonight.
But he
He
didn't want a
has-
microphone. But
He
that's
has
okay.
took on new ownership of my dog, a 5-pound.
Just keep him off the keyboard, damn it.
Give it to
that's all-
Mikey. Mikey will eat.
You
Mikey
got
will
one
eat it.
job, but that's it. So, all right, we want to get back to the topic at hand here. But before we do, my brother-in-law was sending me this Twitter thing, or X, or whatever you call it. I don't know. You call it Twitter still?
It's X, but 9 times out of 10, I still call it Twitter.
I feel like
it'll
I'm
always be
accidentally
Twitter.
getting on a porn site every time I click on it because of
Yeah.
X. You know
Heck,
what I
I'm
mean?
going to give it to you.
Rated X.
RedTube.
X. Rated X.
Speaking of guys that got the dog in it, he sent me this Twitter feed, and it was just people naming random wide receivers. So just for no sense at all, can you name a random wide receiver from history? Just give me some.
Chad Johnson.
Chad, that's not random. He's
Antoine
a,
Randall,
Yancey Thickpen.
Yancey Thigpen's a good one.
Troy Brown.
Troy Brown. But Troy Brown, we got some respect on him. These are some of the fun names.
I got a good one for you.
All right,
I
you
got one.
Darius Hayward Bay.
That was, damn it. That was the first one I was going to read. The
I
very
know,
first
I know
one.
all about that.
The Raiders probably have a lot. The Lions probably have a lot.
Wayne Corbett.
Wayne Corbett's a great one. That's real life Rudy, right?
I thought his name was Sherbert.
How about Limas Swede?
That feels like a fake name.
I know. Lavernius Cole.
I remember
I know him.
Remember
Jets.
him on the Jets? Yeah. Somebody put Nick Foles. I guess that counts.
Henry Ruggs.
Does
that count?
Nobody wants to talk about Henry Ruggs. There's Wayne Corbett.
Henry Ruggs.
Vegas wants to talk about it.
Oh, Irving Fry, Peerless Price. It's just fun to know. What's that meme? Guys can just sit around and name old athletes and talk for 6 hours. That's real life.
Yeah, without ever knowing the other guys. I never know what anybody else's name in the room is, but we all name 100 players.
Like if you went out to the establishment we were talking about and somebody was wearing an Antoine Randall L jersey, you're probably going to want to at least ask him about it.
Yep.
Andre Rison.
It's a big name.
That's
Andre
a bad mood
Rising.
rising.
Whenever the Tyreek Hill thing happened with his...
That's the first thing I thought of.
it was
Ty
fake.
Lopez.
I thought it was fake, and I thought it was just pictures of Andre Rison's house.
All right, so I'm gonna ask you all a trivia question. So when Randy Moss was a rookie, we had Randy Moss, Chris Carter. Who was their number 3?
Jake Reed. Jake Reed.
Damn it!
Come on, you got to get out of here with that weak sauce. How about the Bengals drafted a receiver they thought was going to be their number one guy, and it ended up being the later round picks with Chad Johnson and Houshmandzadeh, TJ Houshmandzadeh. Do you remember who their ace was supposed to be? Big time college player.
I know who it is. The Hawaiian dude.
No.
No,
A
what was
lot
his
of people
name?
thought he was like Percy Harvin reminded people
Yeah.
of this guy, but Percy Harvin had a better NFL career. Florida State.
Peter Warwick.
Peter Warwick. Peter Warwick did not pan out in the pros.
What
I like to-
about West Virginia boy
Who? Kevin White?
Kevin White, and then also
Kevin White's a good one for that.
Tavon
list.
Austin?
Yeah. Tavon.
Well, I was
Kevin
thinking
White.
of another West Virginia
makes me
boy who
sad.
got drafted by the Bengals, but then he passed away.
Oh, Chris Henry.
Yeah, Chris.
Oh,
Henry.
I forgot all about him.
Yep.
Fell out of a car.
Back of a truck.
Yeah, back of a
With
truck.
His girlfriend was driving or chasing him or something. I can't. Or no,
Yeah.
she was driving and he jumped in the back of the truck. I
Yep.
think. Something like that. Yeah, I don't know.
Ray Caruth. They got back of vehicles. Ray.
Ray Caruth, man. If people don't know who Ray Caruth is, just go to the Wikipedia and read up on it. But he set a good trend. That should be a movie. How come that's not a movie?
That's on Lifetime.
It probably would be. All right, back to playoffs. We could talk again. We could talk 6 hours about naming random athletes' names. All right, the NFL. So we got the new playoff format last year. It's back again. It's the one team gets a bye. It's expanded seat, but like we got 9 and 8 Tampa Bay in the playoffs and stuff like that. You guys go to the NFL playoffs? Do they need to change it? Do you like it the way it was, or you good with how it is now?
I like the adjustment they made to it where only one team now gets the bye because it makes that regular season super important. And the fact that they've always done the reseeding makes that team that works so hard in the regular season really get rewarded. I love what they do. The only thing that's weird to me is this: they made it super wild card weekend. Play 3 Saturday and 3 Sunday. Why do we have to have Monday night games?
I know some people like Monday night, but that's the work week, right? Like,
Yeah.
I'm with you, Biggie. Can we just keep? But they monopolize television, and they know that a 1 o'clock game doesn't get as much viewers as a 4 o'clock and a 7 or 8 o'clock game. So I think that's the only reason why they do it. But I know this past week was the first round of the playoffs, and on Tuesday, whenever I got home from work, my wife asked, "So what football game are we watching today?" So I guess for the non-football fans, they're probably footballed out because they monopolize television over the weekend. Like it's nonstop. But I'm here for it.
No, the big grief about this year is the Peacock thing. So what do you think about that?
That pissed everybody off. And we had fun with that with the memes and whatnot. My favorite was Hank Hill. I'm writing in the check memo, unfair. Boy.
Here's the funny thing, though. People will pay $200. Some people still pay for DirecTV. Okay?
Oh, yeah.
It's not us.
Yeah, not us.
Some people will pay hundreds of dollars for a DirecTV and then complain about $5 Peacock.
Well, I was
Just
seeing
go to Granny's house and get her password.
So, well, I saw
That was
that one
one
too.
of my that was one of my favorites.
But people were saying like I got it on Black Friday for 99 cents or some crazy shit like that. But I don't know. It's like people started getting rid of cable and started going to these streaming platforms to save money. But now there's so many of them. I guarantee you, there's people that are paying $200 in these damn subscriptions.
They
for all
have
this.
like, I got Hulu, I got Peacock, I got Freebie is real.
Paramount Plus.
It's free.
Red
HBO
Tube.
Max, Disney Plus,
Netflix.
Well, the audience is telling me that the expected viewership for the Chiefs-Dolphins game and the actual viewership was millions short of what the projected was because of the people who wouldn't buy Peacock for that particular game.
$1 million. 10 million.
He's saying it's 10 million.
Is that worth it though?
Let's
Like
check.
what was NBC Universal's rise in subscriptions? Because they don't care about the TV viewership if their subscription service went up.
Yep.
But here's the thing: we cannot unite as a people to say no, I'm not doing it. Everybody's a sucker. The NFL's got us, man. They got us by the gonads. You're going to consume it no matter what.
Like, here's the thing, though: if your team's playing, you're going to watch it no matter
Absolutely.
how. You got to watch it.
I drove past a panhandler that was holding up a sign saying "Need money for Peacock."
Did you help him out?
I did.
For that scenario, I love the honesty. Give the man his $5.99.
Yeah.
And you count out the change and everything.
Yeah, give him a sandwich too.
Ooh.
It really bothers me that they did that because it's such a money grab. But if I look at it from the NFL's point of view, they've built their product into something that if they tell you this is what you're going to pay $5.99 to watch it, millions will do that. Now, let's fast forward 5, 6, 7 years. All of a sudden, the Super Bowl isn't ABC, NBC, Fox. The Super Bowl is on Peacock or some other new streaming network.
When would that happen? I feel like there's too much money involved with it the way it is now.
But I think that the more we buy the Peacock for a Saturday wild card, they think that they can do that.
You know who started this shit? It was wrestling.
Oh, with the pay-per-view.
The
and
WWE Network. They did.
Network.
They started that. And then guess who bought them? Peacock.
Everybody.
Well, Peacock bought it. And because they saw it and they're like, man, we're going to, integrate this into our stuff. And then WWE came out with their network before all these other platforms started, except for like Hulu and Netflix, right? But like they did it, and they were charging $9.99 a month for it back then. And think about that, people were paying.
Just another thing that Vince was on because he's freaking brilliant before
Yeah.
so many other people. Because I had a WWE subscription for the simple fact I could pay that $10 and watch WrestleMania instead of paying $60.
Yeah,
I could keep it for 2 months and cancel. So now I paid $20. But he got a 2-month subscription out of me. And then how many other people did it and never canceled?
it's kind of like why Planet Fitness only charges you like $10 a month is
Yeah.
because it's so low that if you quit going, you're too lazy to uncancel or
Yeah.
cancel. I mean,
If you're
Uncancel.
too lazy
I
to
don't
go to
want
the gym, you're definitely too lazy to cancel the membership.
So, our Planet Fitness that we visit, I've never once been there and they've had pizza or bagels like everybody talks about. When the hell do they do that?
Never.
Did they stop
Never.
it after COVID? Is that what happened? I mean, you know what? I want to see somebody on the treadmill eating a slice of Geno's or something. That'd be all right with me.
That'd be like Ben Stiller at the end of freaking Dodgeball, flipping his man tits up, stuffing pizza in his mouth.
on the boys to the yard. That was a good playoff format.
Yes.
Dodgeball. Now the problem with dodgeball at the end of it, right?
What's that?
It was a fault by Vince Vaughn's character.
Howdy fault.
They were standing in that little circle,
Yep.
and he put the blindfold on. Go back and watch it. He steps out of the circle. They call White before that for a fault. Like
Yep.
Goodman, they said no, and
For
that's how
crossing,
they
he
end
went
up
over
with the
the
sudden
line.
death.
Yep.
Chuck Norris thumbs up, all that shit. Go back and watch the tape. Vince Vaughn's a cheater.
Nobody makes me bleed my own blood.
Nobody.
Well, the fact is, the only
Consigliere
reason Vince
Michel.
Vaughn was there in that position was because cheater Lance Armstrong talked him into it. So they were in this together.
Yeah,
That's
he was on top of his game then, wasn't he?
That's true.
What is
Nobody
that
knew it.
line
before
Lance
opening.
Armstrong
Right.
gives him?
He,
You
he was
know-
like, I can't imagine what type of personal demons and grief you're dealing with. I mean, I remember whenever I was stricken with cancer through my entire body, there was times I wanted to give up, but
Yeah, he says he has like 3 testicular and brain
brain
cancer.
cancer. Testicular cancer has spread to my brain, but I can't imagine what type of shame you must be dealing with right now.
Yeah, as it turns out, the testicular cancer was from taking steroids.
It just
To
might
have
have
this
been.
decision haunt you for the rest of your life.
And then he walks off.
God, I love dodgeball.
When's the last time there's been a comedy movie like that?
It's been a minute.
Like the Hangovers
Well-
are done old school. Will Ferrell got too old, so those
There's
things
never
don't
a
work.
comedy now that you like look forward to go to the theater to watch, and it's terrible.
I'm gonna give you credit for a movie that no one listening will probably have seen, and you saw it one day, and then I watched, and I was like, "Yeah, it was pretty good." It was on Netflix.
Wrong Missy.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Because that was similar to that, where it was just goofy.
Right.
You know what I mean? Why can't we
Appearance
just
by
have
Roman Reigns.
Why can't we have goofy movies?
I don't know.
Is that
I
David
feel like
Spade
they
in
died
there?
off with some
Yeah.
of the great funny actors from the 90s and 2000s. Vince Vaughn, Will Ferrell, Owen Wilson was in a lot of those.
Even Leslie Nielsen.
Yeah, I like that.
And what happened to those
slapstick.
types of movies, like Airplane, Naked Gun?
Yeah.
Well, now you only get what was that movie? The Blackening. Did you see that?
Nah.
Came out last year? Like that's it's got to be woke or something.
Yeah.
Like we can't just do regular funny movies.
The Wayans
Like,
brothers with Scary Movies.
hey, I love them shits. Those were great.
Those are pretty good.
If
And
there's
then they put
one,
Charlie Sheen in 'em. Tiger Blood.
If there's one comedy from the last 20 years, 25 years, that anytime it's on, you have to watch it. What is it?
Wedding Crashers
Yeah.
for me.
But I agree. But
Wedding
I
Crashers,
feel
and
like it doesn't-
I love old school.
I don't see it pop up as much.
You know,
It really don't. I don't see old school pop up anymore. I see Step Brothers and Talladega Nights all the time.
yeah.
So whatever networks bought the rights for them, I feel like they put that shit on 24/7.
John C. Riley has range.
He does have range.
He does.
Gangs of New York. Anybody?
Yeah. Yeah, he's good in that. It's one of my favorite comedies.
Dr. Jerry Boss.
Dr. Steve Rule. I bet nobody
yeah.
knows what that is.
He goes all the way back to George Clooney in A Perfect Storm.
Oh my God, I forgot all about
You think
that.
about. I get off track. But that movie had a lot of good actors.
We'll get
in it,
off
too.
track. Who else was in that?
You had Mark Wahlberg,
That's right.
and then you had
Diane Lane.
Oh, she's a good
The
actress.
Patriots fan names a Boston person.
Of course
pretty
he
quick.
does.
Yeah, he came to mind first. But they had
I'm
the dude
exhausted
that's
of
in
Mark Wahlberg,
Armageddon
by the way.
too is in that one.
Armageddon 2. I haven't seen
No,
that one.
Armageddon 2? The
He
sequel?
plays the Air Force
This
guy in
time the
Armageddon.
meteor is the size of Alaska.
Here we go again. Again.
It's like when they do Die Harder instead of Die Hard. It's Armageddoner.
So you got John Hawkes, Mark Wahlberg, William
Defoe?
Fitchner.
It's
William
not William,
Fitchner
it's
is the
Willem.
one I was thinking of.
Willem. That's right. Willem Dafoe.
You know anybody named Willem?
George Clooney, John C. Riley.
Charlie sent me for entertainment.
Boondock Saints?
Yes.
Oh, have you ever
Love
seen Boondock Saints, Mr.
William
Brown?
Dafoe.
I think you would absolutely love it.
You would love it. I think the word you're looking
Diane
for
Lane's a good looking one.
is
Symbolism.
symbolism.
What about Diane Lane and Unfaithful?
See, when you said Diane Lane, that was the first thing I thought of, was that movie. Is that Richard Gere?
Yes.
All right. What year did that come out? Is that like a 2000 movie?
Not soon enough.
I'd say,
It came out in.
I'm going to guess 2000. 2002. Mikey in the background says 2002. Going once, going twice.
2004.
I'll give Mikey a 2002. He's usually pretty good with the movies.
1997. That's my final guess.
That was Armageddon. Or what was better, Armageddon
Well,
or
then-
Deep Impact?
The other thing,
Yeah,
too,
he got it right. Did you know that, or did you look it up?
Ooh. No, he knows his Diane Lane
2002 Unfaithful.
movies.
You think of what you just said, 1997. Then that made me think of all the scary movies he did. Then they became spoof movies. If there was a spoof movie, it was a Wayans Brothers production.
Right. Did you ever watch any like old Keenan Ivory Wayne's movies back in the day? Like I'm gonna get you, sucker.
I have not seen that.
That's what it's called. It's called I'm gonna get you.
I've
get
heard
you.
of it.
And
I
it's-
never watched
is
it.
it get GIT? I think is how they spell it. Menace to Society. Or no, don't be a menace in South Central while drinking your juice in the hood. That was
Yeah,
is that the
yeah.
first Wayne's Brothers
Yep.
movie with Crazy Legs? What you got there?
He's
We got
eating,
pizza.
he's
Is that-
eating he's eating some Tina Meats pizza with pesto sauce.
Pesto.
Toasted almonds
Toasted on the pizza?
on the pizza.
You guys are psychotic.
Caramelized onions.
That's
that-
good.
That glorious
Glory
hole in
hole.
the wall.
I thought he was going to say
T&M.
it's a glory hole in the wall.
He
Dude,
got
they got
there.
some good stuff there.
They do.
T&M's a nice spot.
You got a little schmutz on your
For
sleeve.
those of you that cannot see what you hear,
Well,
Mr.
you're not hearing Mr. Brown right now, and there's a reason for this.
yes, he's eating pizza off his jacket sleeve.
It looks good. I wasn't hungry until he started eating it. Now I'm pissed. But All right, so I don't want to be here all night. It's snowing, and my Jeep does not have 4-wheel drive. If people can believe that's a thing, but we were talking about all the playoff formats. The best by far is March Madness, right?
Yes.
Like, there's nothing that competes with that.
I think so.
And like we were talking earlier about like contrasting styles and whatnot. That's what makes March Madness so good, man. You get these.
Well, the greatest thing about March Madness, you can have Georgetown as a 1 seed or a 2 seed, and they're playing Princeton, Pete Carroll, and Georgetown's a team that's going to score 65 points and block a bunch of shots, and all of a sudden they're in a game with
I
Princeton.
don't know what Georgetown
where
you're
it's like
talking about.
47 to 46. We're talking mid 80s Georgetown.
You're talking about John Thompson, Georgetown.
You were talking about, comparison of different styles. That's what I like.
So the other thing that's kind of changed with that is I feel like more now than ever those like team like the St. Peter's, Loyola, Florida Gulf Coast. I thought it was a damn credit union.
Yeah.
FGCU or whatever it was. But it's it's all those like schools
Andy Enfield.
you've never heard of. And then here they are, and all they got to do is just win 1 or 2 games. And to them, that's like winning the national championship. But like George Mason's made runs. Like that's you talk. So everything you want in
Jim
college
Larinaga,
football,
Miami. He came from George Mason
Right.
after they ran to the Final Four.
like nothing touches March Madness.
No, and then the stories that you're able to put behind it. And the thing about March Madness is that you end up with these schools that have such contrasting styles, and it's the one shining moment. But it really is because you got a kid who's 19 or 20 years old who hits a 3 at the buzzer as a 14 seed. He's now a legend in that school's history.
But what if
Florida
he's
Gulf Coast or
21?
whatever.
What if he's 21? Does that just throw everything off?
No, that's a guy who stayed the course.
Okay.
Well, I think what you get is those random small ass schools that they don't have no NIL money, they don't have anything, but what they do is they end up getting guys that'll play together for like 2 or 3 years, and chemistry's still a thing, and I think that's why like we see Princeton like once every 10 years is going to have a run because they're still running the backdoor cuts and beating people 48 to 42, and they're not used to seeing that.
You ever watch Ivy League basketball on ESPN?
I can't say I do, but remember we used to get Bob Picozzi on the show, and he would talk about March Madness. He loves him some Northeastern college basketball, Iona and Siena and Stony Brook and all them schools like that.
It's nuts. Where did Tim Lyle go? He went
James
to
Madison.
James Madison.
JMU.
Which they're on the up and up. I don't know
Yeah.
about basketball, but football.
Yeah, they've come a long way since then.
They got their bowl game, didn't they?
They
Yep.
did.
They backdoored in there.
Yep.
I
Only
like
because there weren't enough schools to take the eligible bowl games.
that. We were talking about college football postseason. The one thing we didn't really shit on was how bad the bowl season has become. Like with the playoff, we're talking about how optimistic that's going to be, but man, the bowls are just terrible.
Shrink it.
There.
Shrink it. 41 bowl games, so you need 82 teams that are at least 6-6. It doesn't happen. This year, you had PJ Fleck and Minnesota Golden Gophers at 5-7 in a bowl game. That's
5 and
bullshit.
7. And I bet half of them didn't play.
No.
Meanwhile,
If you're good, you're not playing.
Meanwhile, you've got the Dallas Cowboys pissed off. Jerry Jones pissed off that a number 7 seed was allowed into the playoffs and came in there and owned them.
Because they lost.
Yes.
I'd be pissed too. But,
Yes.
that you can't be mad at that. Shut up and win the game. You were at home. That's the thing about March Madness. It's all neutral site too.
And that was their whole thing. We're good at home. Nope.
No,
Isn't
they're
it
not.
weird though? How with March Madness, we feel like that's the best thing ever. But if like other sports would like expand that much, we'd be like, that's watered down.
Well, it's different because it's one and done. Like the NBA. So we didn't talk about this, but remember when the first round was 5 best of 5?
I remember that.
Shouldn't that be what it is? Like, isn't that your reward for having a good regular season record? Is you get a bad team and it's a short series in the first round. You get rid of the garbage by the time you're in the second round. Now it's 7 games. You got good teams. Like the NBA playoffs when I was a kid, I felt like was done in a month. Now it's like 8 months long, and it goes on forever.
It's because they got to have rest games in between each game.
Well, and then you got to throw in the playing games now, and what is it, like 3 days off if they have to travel?
They've got to have the shortest off season of any sport.
Well, they keep moving the dates around, so they're trying to get people to play every game. And how is it now with all the advancements in like just sports medicine and physical therapy and surgery that you can't get guys to play 80 games anymore. And you could go back to where it was a more physical game and people were getting the shit knocked out of them, but they'd play 80 games. I don't
back
understand.
then it meant something to play 82 games
Right.
the whole season. And like that's what MJ and all those dudes did. If they're healthy, they suit it up.
The damn union's got too much power. What they ought to do is you lose a game check. You know, if you don't play, you don't get paid.
You went through a thing where it used to be a patch of pride to play a full season, 82 games. Now these guys want to lengthen their careers so they can get the next contract. So they're only playing as much as they have to.
I mean, that's the way it goes.
They're just better agents now.
No, it's the damn union, man. I'm telling you, they got all the power. The NFL players union's looking around going, "How come we're not making it?"
The NBA players union is like
They run it.
Yeah.
Well, what about baseball though? Like baseball, man.
That's the only league that's fully guaranteed contracts.
But it's the haves and have-nots though. Like baseball, you have such a disparity. I was looking the other day at like the top 20 like salaries in sports, and like 14 of the top 20 were all baseball players.
Yeah.
And then like the 3 of them were soccer over in Europe, and
Dude,
it's like
the international soccer players are at it. They're in a whole nother
But
level.
you're only talking about like Ronaldo and
Right.
Messi and guys like
they're making
that.
like $800 million for 1 year.
But Shohei
Yeah,
Ohtani,
their money is
Saudi.
I don't
Ohtani's number
understand
1
it.
overall now. I mean, my God, he signed a $600 million contract.
7.
$700 million.
And it's all deferred.
It's probably 800 now. I don't know. But how in the world can you have Shohei Ohtani make that much, and then somebody else on the team is making 750 or 800 or whatever the minimum?
No, I
is.
get it. You're right. The disparity.
And so it's like players, if they're good, they get paid. But if you're a young player, it's so different than every other sport. They're just putting you under the thumb, and it's like, oh, we'll just go to arbitration and figure shit out. And it's like until you're like 25 years old, you're not going to make any money.
Yeah.
You're not making no money in the minors.
I saw a cool story today about a local guy. Julian Edelman, when he was a rookie, the rookie receivers were supposed to buy lunch. They were supposed to buy
I
sandwiches.
saw this too.
Yeah, Randy Moss slid money to him to buy the sandwiches.
For the wide receivers, right?
Yeah.
That is some kind of horseshit what they do to those rookies. Like they do that in all sports. right?
Hazing.
It's so bad. Mike's got the mic. Hey, Mike.
What about when you had Larry Bird back in the day? Okay, Larry Bird, he goes out of the game, okay, against the Pacers, and they smell blood in the water at that time. Okay, he went out, and then had a cracked face. He had a broken bone in his face. He comes back in the game and defeats them.
Well, I know you
Just
like Larry
beats him.
Bird.
No, it
What does it have to
wasn't.
do with anything?
It wasn't just that. He was playing
He
for
thought we
something.
started talking
playing
about
for
the
something.
NBA.
Oh,
He
okay.
was playing for something. He was playing for pride.
Well, you're talking. Oh, when we were talking about how these cats won't play.
And to relate with the story that Margo's over here talking about, you got Larry out there working out in his mother's yard and everything and fixing something in his yard. That's how he got the back problem.
Well, Mike, if you were playing against plumbers too, you'd have time for that as well. Isn't that what they say?
But they can pay for that stuff now. So
They can hire a plumber.
Larry
and
went
then
out
beat
there and
their
did it.
ass.
Jake Plummer.
Jake Plummer. Hey, well, let's start a thread on Twitter
No,
about random
let's
quarterbacks. Because the Raiders could get a lot of them.
Exactly.
Well, guys, I'm not gonna be here next week. I gotta go to Virginia for some work stuff. The other work, not this. This one doesn't pay enough yet.
Where at in Virginia are you headed?
I'm going to Charlottesville.
Oh, nice.
Yeah,
Hey,
Charlottesville, nice town.
I got a
Take your hood.
hookup for you down there.
Ooh,
Take your hood.
Wow.
I'm not even following up on that.
Come on. Yeah.
Just
I'm
leave it
going to
alone.
talk to you after the show. Wink, wink.
I don't know what's happening. I
Bring-
do, but I don't want it to happen.
Bring your Vaseline.
Mm.
I'm really confused.
I've been to Richmond a bunch of times. I always
That's not
liked
the
it
same
down there.
place.
It's not close. It's not close.
They're about an hour apart. Yeah, or maybe more. I don't
It's
know.
that's kind
It's
of
like saying Charleston and Huntington's the same.
yeah. It's kind of like people that are like, where are you from? West Virginia. Oh, I've been to Richmond.
I got cousins that live in Roanoke.
Virginia's a weird state if you think about it, as far as how diverse it is, depending on which part of it
Like
you're
the
in.
differences between Southwest Virginia and Northern Virginia.
Yeah.
Oh God. Yeah.
It's is there? Is there another state? Maybe California. You can talk about NoCal and SoCal.
Yeah, I agree with that. I agree with that.
but
A
like
whole different country.
Yeah,
between
and maybe
those
New
two.
York, like upstate versus like Buffalo versus New York City. That's a crazy dynamic.
Correct.
But I think that's about it. I think most states kind of have a like what West Virginia has a pretty similar ideology wherever you go.
Yep.
You know, that's kind of and like Florida, I think is probably the same to a certain degree. But
The only other place I can think of that's really different, because I talked to Bonehammer who lives there. He lives in northern Minnesota. Northern Minnesota is as backwoodsy as it can come. You get into southern Minnesota, into the cities, and it's
why would
might as well
anyone
be
want to
LA.
live in northern Minnesota?
That's where his wife's family's from. They got a spot of land. He loves it.
Why is she
It's
from there?
woods.
Yeah, what's her
lakes.
problem?
All he does is work, and then you walk a V line and you fish.
Ice fish?
Then you freeze
Oh,
to
yeah.
death.
This
Have
time
you,
of year, you
you've
ice
been
fish.
ice fishing, right?
You freeze to
Once.
death in July.
Been ice fishing before. Well, my ice fishing wasn't real ice fishing because you can go out, sit on a bucket with a hole in the water, or you can have friends who have really nice equipment instead of having to camp.
Like
they
they
have
get
a
the
fish
shack
house,
and whatnot.
and you sit out on Lake Skakawea in your freaking shorts with no shirt because it's so hot.
You
inside
just
of there
made
with
up
a big
that
hole
name.
in the middle of it.
Yeah,
You
what did he
just-
say? I bet he can't
catch
say it
fish.
the same again. What was the name of it?
Lake what?
Lake Skakawea.
I see. There's no way that was a say. Say it one more time.
Slow it down.
Sakakawea.
It's different every time he says it.
Lake Audubon.
Are you saying
Slow it down.
Sachakawea?
Sakakawea.
Sakakawea.
Slow it down on the cock part.
Oh my god.
Lake Sakakawea.
Oh,
Lake cock.
there's somebody like trying to map these coordinates. right
Seriously, when you go on Highway
Sounds like
83 north and Sakakawea is on the right, if you're going north, Audubon's on the left. On the right, you'll see 100 freaking ice houses out there.
Ron
this time
Jeremy
of
is
year.
trying to find this place just so he can make some films over there.
now. Didn't he get in a lot of trouble?
He did.
What did he get in trouble for? I could probably guess, but do you know? I don't know.
Sexual harassment
Of course.
somehow.
I feel like every time if you look at a picture of Ron Jeremy, he looks like he smells like bean burritos.
Yeah.
I don't
Yeah.
know why that makes sense to me, but it does.
You put a striped outfit on him. He's about to go steal some hamburgers.
Rabble, rabble. Hey, we made full circle. We went to Boondock Saints back to Ron Jeremy. That's all connected, right? That's our universe we're living in. I think it's a good time to stop. Make sure you check out our other episode that'll drop later this week. We got our No Filter Lions back, and they were fun. One of them's a little chatty, though. He liked to talk a little bit. We had to mute him a couple times, but we persevered, I think. But they are fun, and they have made me want to root for the Lions so bad.
You just got to remember, we have limits to our show. Don't bring up the Blaine Gabbert jokes.
No, Blaine Gabbert jokes are not cool. That'll get your ass muted, just so you know. Random quarterbacks. I'm telling you, that's the Twitter thread we're going to start. But
That's my quarterback.
that's my quarterback. Everybody, make sure you check out our website, wdksports.us. You can leave us a voicemail, find any episode of any podcast. You can even go check out our guest registry and then fill out a form if you want to come on the show, or track down one of the many famous and not so famous guests that we've had over the years. But I think 2024 is going to be a good year for We Don't Know Sports. We got a lot of exciting things going on. I feel like things are going in the right direction, and we want to hear from you guys. We're trying to pick some fun topics each week to talk about, and you know what? We enjoy talking to people as much as each other.
This is our year.
It's our year, just like the Dallas Cowboys.
Yeah.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, that's been another episode of the We Don't Know Sports podcast. Make sure you subscribe wherever you get your podcast. We'll be back after a couple weeks. We got to take a week off as I'm out of town, but we'll be back first week of February, ready to rock and roll. It'll be Super Bowl time then, so maybe we can talk about best Super Bowls ever. I'm sure Biggie's got a couple he'd like to talk about with New England, huh?
Oh, I got about 9.
You didn't win it. All right, everybody, have a great weekend. Enjoy your playoff football. We'll see you next time. Have a good one. Bye-bye.